I presented my teaching project on the prevention and management of depression and suicidality in individuals with alcohol use disorder. So what is depression? Depression is defined as a prolonged period of feeling sad, hopeless, lost, worthless, devoid of energy, apathetic, and even suicidal. There is a direct relationship between alcohol use disorder and depression. In fact, at least 30 to 40% of individuals diagnosed with AUD experience a depressive disorder. Alcohol is a central nervous system depressant that slows the body down, and studies show that alcohol use increase the duration and severity of depressive episodes. Alcohol use causes stress in life, such as career and family problems, to worsen and increases the likelihood, frequency, and severity of suicidal thoughts. So what are some of the signs and symptoms of depression? Some of the signs and symptoms are loss of interest in previously enjoyed or important activities, sadness or feeling down, hopelessness, low self-esteem, trouble with concentration, difficulty with making decisions, anger and irritability, decreased activity and productivity, changes in appetite leading to weight loss or weight gain, sleeping too much or too little, and suicidal thoughts. Alcohol-induced depression. Co-occurring alcoholism and depression is one of the most common dual diagnoses. Alcohol-dependent respondents were 3.9 times more likely to have major depressive disorder, and almost a third of people with major depression disorder also have a drinking problem. Often, the depression comes first and is followed by progressively worsening alcohol use. Genetics and family history also play a part in both alcoholism and depression. A family history of alcoholism or depression increases the probability of a dual diagnosis. There is also research that suggests there is a gene variation that is common between the two diagnoses. Alcohol use disorder can alter the brain and cause depression. Alcoholics are more likely to develop depression than non-alcoholics. Depressed mood is common in individuals with AUD. If AUD is the primary disorder, depression symptoms may lessen or worsen or resolve when the alcohol use is discontinued. I allowed the clients to look at the depression screening, which is called the PHQ-9 screening. This screening uses a score criteria of 0 to 3. It is used to monitor the severity of depression and the treatments. I also allowed them to look at the PHQ-2 screening as well as take this screening. It asks 2 questions to determine the severity of depression. It asks, how often is little interest or pleasure in doing things noted? And how often do you feel down, depressed, and hopeless? Signs and symptoms of depression and suicidality. Symptoms of depression can include feeling worthless, sadness, fatigue, loss of interest in hobbies and activities, lack of energy to complete daily tasks, difficulty concentrating, guilt, substance use, suicide thoughts. Many manage depression with medications. Some medications given are antidepressants. Antidepressant medications are often used to treat depression. Sometimes different antidepressant medications have to be tried before finding the one that works best for the individual. It is shown that medications that are used by close family members in the past typically are helpful with those individuals, and antidepressants usually take 2 to 4 weeks before they become effective and therapeutic. Some of the medication classes are SSRIs, which are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Some common names are Prozac, Paxil, Lexapro, Zoloft, and Celexa. Another class is SNRI, which is serotonin and norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors. Some of these medications are Effexor and Cymbalta. You have the atypical antidepressants, which are Wellbutrin and Wellbutrin XL, bupropion, and then you have the tricyclic antidepressants. Some of those are tafranil and Pamelor. Lastly, you have the MAOIs, the monoamine oxidase inhibitors. Some of these medications are Parnate, Nordeal. There are many support groups and resources available for patients who are experiencing anxiety and depression. Some of those include the Anxiety and Depression Association of America and BetterHelp.com. Other resources include the SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and then the National Alliance and Mental Illness, which is NAMI.org. On both sites, there are available resources, hotline, pamphlets, as well as links to help manage depression and even suicide thoughts. I also presented the clients with the National Suicide Hotline information. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is a national network of local crisis centers that provide free and confidential emotional support to people in suicidal crisis or emotional distress 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This access is always available via online or the 1-800 number. Patients can call at any time. What the clients liked most about my presentation were the apps that I presented for management of depression. One app is called Happify. It uses effective tools and programs to help you take control of your emotional well-being. Another app is the Ptsd Coach App. This app involves you with education, provides you with education about PTSD, information about professional care, a self-assessment of PTSD, opportunities to find support, and tools that help you manage the stress of daily life with PTSD. A lot of the patients at Bradford that experienced alcohol use disorder were veterans, and this app they found quite interesting and beneficial. Another app is the Calm app. It's an app used for sleep and meditation. The most popular app amongst the clients was the Sober Grid app. The Sober Grid app is a free app that connects you with other sober people. You are instantly connected to a global sober community in your neighborhood and around the globe. You can build strong, sober support networks and inspire others. Other apps provided to the clients in my presentation was the Headspace app. It's an everyday mindfulness and meditation app for stress, anxiety, sleep, focus, fitness, and more. Another app I provided was the Breathe to Relax app. It's a portable stress management tool which provides detailed information on the effects of stress on the body and instructions and practice exercises to help users learn the stress management skill called diaphragmatic breathing. And lastly, here are pictures of me preparing to present my presentation at Bradford. I was able to do and present to the clients one-on-one after they receive an assessment and intake with the nurse practitioner. I provided them with a handout of the presentation with all the available resources that talks about depression, alcohol use disorder, signs and symptoms of depression, signs and symptoms of suicidality, a copy of the PHQ-9 screening, and a sample handout with the Suicide Prevention Lifeline pocket guide information for the Suicide Prevention Hotline. I was able to do a post-conference questionnaire with the clients and talk to them about the things that they learned, the things that I could have done better, and it also allowed me to assess the information attained and retained by the clients. Overall, I thought I had a great presentation. I think the clients were very receptive and open to learning. They have seen me for the past year, the summer, and even the spring semester, so they were very comfortable and familiar with my presentation. Overall, I felt that my presentation was very relevant to the clients. They were very receptive, and it was a great experience. I hope you guys have enjoyed my presentation on alcohol use disorder and the management of depression and prevention of suicide. Thank you and have a great day.